Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Jessica and this is one of my dogs. This is Finley. Occasionally he jumps on the mat and I think he kind of wants to help me teach, but eventually he will move on. So welcome. This practice is going to focus on backbends, and we're going to talk about and practice how important core engagement is in a backbend, which might seem a little counterintuitive because in backbends we're lengthening the front of the body, right? But when you consider how it's really easy in certain backbends to crunch into your lower back, which probably doesn't feel good, what we're going to see is that a core engagement on the front of the body helps us lengthen up out of that lower back as opposed to shorten and crunch into that lower back. So in this way, we're going to find length and freedom in our backbends. Before we get started, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button, and any likes and comments are always greatly appreciated. So with that said, let's come into table posture, hands and knees. Buddy, you're gonna have to move off the mat. Off you go. Okay, so you're gonna find your wrists under the shoulders and the knees under the hips. And first, let's just start with a little bit of fluid movement. So you can kind of move in any way that you want. Maybe some cat-cow motions, maybe some little sways. If you have to negotiate with the animals around you, well, you're not the only one. Okay, good. So let's come into just that neutral table posture here. On an inhale, we'll find a back bend. So that's your cow back. You lift the heart, you lift the tail, maybe you look up. And exhale, you reverse that. Flexing the spine, pulling the navel up and in, doming the upper back. Let's do that again. Inhale, lift your heart. And exhale, scoop and round. Let's add on. Make sure your toes are untucked. Inhale, lift the heart. And this time, as you exhale and round, pull the navel up and in. Press into the tops of the feet and float the knees and the shins off the mat. Press into the toenails. Inhale, knees down. Lift the heart, soften the belly down. Exhale, do the opposite. Pull the navel up and in, float the knees and the shins off the mat. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, we're just awakening the core. Exhale, scoop and round, push into the tops of the feet and the hands. Good. Inhale to a neutral spine. Exhale, tuck your toes, float the knees an inch off the mat. Okay, so a little different, but we're still in a floating table, and we're hugging the lower belly, the lower ribs in, and snugging the sideways into center. Inhale, get longer through the crown of the head and tailbone. And exhale, let's go back, downward facing dog. Step the stance a little bit longer if that is helpful. Press the mat away. Good. Inhale, rock forward to a plank pose. If you need to lengthen out the stance a bit, go ahead and do that. But the same thing applies with pulling the navel up and in, sideways in. Take an inhale, broaden through the chest, and exhale, go back, downward facing dog. Same thing. Inhale, ripple forward. Let the knees come on down, find table. So in table, it's very easy to kind of collapse in the lower back and just kind of hang out here. So right now, let's do the opposite. Firm the lower belly in. So we're gonna keep this midsection stability, okay? Take your right leg straight back in space, toes point down, and then notice, did you collapse in the lower back? Do you need to reestablish that hugging into midline? Hips are square, and then send your left arm forward. So this drawing to center is going to keep coming up through our practice, so we really want to feel it here. Take a big inhale. Good. Exhale, let that go. Second side. Reestablish the stability of the midsection, hugging lower belly in. Send your left leg straight back. Notice if the hips want to turn out to the left, so make sure the front left hip point is pointing down and your back foot is flexed with the toes pointing down. Firm lower belly in, and then send your right arm forward. So everything in the midsection hugs to midline, but then from there you lengthen through fingertips and heel. Inhale. Exhale, let it go. Very nice. Inhale, tuck your toes, float the kneecaps. You're back in that floating table. Take a big inhale, broaden the collarbones. And exhale, let's go back, downward facing dog. Take a big breath in and full breath out. Inhale, the right leg floats up and back. Exhale, knee to nose, round curl in, lifting the navel to the spine. One more like that. Inhale. Exhale, round curl in, step your foot in between the hands, let your back knee come down, and then walk your hands up to the top of that thigh. Okay, so here in this low lunge, can we turn this into a back bend? Absolutely. Can we get really heavy and low, let the ribs blow out and crunch into that lower back? Yes, we can do that. But today I want to try something different. Bring your hands to your lower belly. Hug the lower belly and the lower ribs in, and feel that when you do that, you just got longer and you lifted the torso up. So we're going to keep that stability of the midsection and then reach the arms. Now, once we have that stability and we're lifting up, then we can start to take the rib cage and the heart up, and yes, maybe a little back if that feels good. Keep lower belly and lower ribs drawing up and in. Take a big inhale. Good, exhale, hands through your heart to the mat. Leave your left hand down, take your right foot a little bit wider to the right, and open into a twist. Maybe reach for the back foot and pull that heel in. I'm gonna give you some options, okay? So you might stick with this, or walk your right hand to the inside of that back foot. Keep the foot, but start to turn your chest down. So it's less of a twist, but you're getting this big quad stretch as you pull that foot in. If you can, kick the foot into the hand a bit. Wrap the right side of the rib cage down. Take one more inhale. Good, exhale, gently release that and step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale, lower all the way to the mat. Point the toes back and really point the big toes so that your ankles are really long. Hands, bring them to your lower ribs. So the hands will be underneath those elbows. Press into the tops of the feet. Inhale, cobra pose. Lift the heart forward and squeeze the upper arms together. Roll the shoulder heads back. And exhale, lengthen out and down. Now keep your chest and your forehead down. Point your toes and inhale, float your feet and your legs off the mat so you feel those glutes work. Exhale, set it down. Glue the tops of the feet down. Inhale, lift your head and your heart. Again, roll the shoulder heads back and squeeze the upper arms toward your torso. Exhale, lengthen out and down. One more time with just the feet. Inhale, point those toes, float the legs off the mat. And exhale, set it down. Let's put it together. Keep your hands down. Inhale, heart pulls forward. Now add the legs. So everything on the back of the body lifts. Isometrically drag your hands back, elbows squeeze to midline, and exhale, let it go. Inhale, tuck your toes, lift your lower belly, and exhale, press to plank. Inhale, strengthen your plank, and exhale, go back, downward facing dog. Good. Inhale, left leg floats up and back. Exhale, knee to nose, pull the navel up and in. Inhale, left leg lifts up and back. Exhale, step the foot in between the hands. Let your back knee come down and then walk your hands up to the top of the thigh. Anytime we're in a place where we're putting the knee down, if you need to pad that back knee, go ahead and do that. So, once again, we're going to create the stability of the midsection by lifting frontal hip points, wrapping the lower belly in, the lower ribs in. So it's like a corseting action, right? And then as you hug everything to midline, you feel how you just lengthened up out of that lumbar spine. Keep lifting the rib cage up, floating the sternum up, and add the arms. Now, keeping all of that stability, if it feels good, you might start to take the sternum up and maybe a little back. Take one more inhale, press into that left foot. Exhale, hands through your heart to the earth. Right hand will stay down. Take your left foot a little bit wider to the left. Bend the back knee, reach for the outside of the foot. So a bit of a chest opener and a quad stretch here. If you're happy here, feel free to stay. Otherwise, walk your hands so that it's on the inside of the foot and begin to turn the left shoulder and the left side of the chest down. So we still have that foot, but we've lost the twist. If you have a little bit more, kick the foot into the hand. Try not to drop the head, so crown of head goes forward. Take one more inhale. Good. Exhale, gently let that go. Hands down. Go back to the downward facing dog. Breath in and breath out. Good. Inhale, ripple forward, plank pose. Exhale, lower all the way. Point the toes back. Press the tops of the feet down. Inhale, scoop the head and the heart up. You might stay there, or you might start to straighten the arms and lift the hips and the legs off of the mat for upward facing dog. Sometimes it's helpful to put a little bend in the elbows here in up dog and roll the shoulder heads back. Inhale. Exhale, press into the tops of the feet, go back, downward facing dog. Inhale, the right leg floats up and back. Exhale, step foot in between hands. Make sure your right foot's right of center, and inhale, rise to a high lunge. So I'd like to think about those principles that we worked on in that low lunge and apply them here. So finding that core stability, lifting up out of the lumbar spine, floating the rib cage and the sternum up, and then reaching the arms. From there, you might start to take the arms a little back. You might take your gaze up. Big inhale. Good. Exhale, hands to the mat. Go back to the downward facing dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower halfway or to the floor. Inhale to either upward facing dog or cobra, either one. And exhale, go back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg floats up and back. Exhale, step it through, left foot's left of center. Inhale to rise, high lunge. Back heel is lifted, back leg is as straight as you can get it. And then think about the stability. Lift frontal hip points, wrap lower belly in, put the core sitting action on so you feel that length, that freedom coming up out of the lumbar spine. From there, lift your rib cage away from the pelvis. As you reach the arms up, you might even bring your palms together. You might start to work the gaze up. Take a big inhale. Good. Exhale, hands to the mat. Go back, downward facing dog. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale, lower all the way. Take your arms long beside you, palms face down. Glue the tops of your feet down. Inhale, float your head and your heart. Roll your right shoulder back and then your left shoulder back. Now bring your hands behind you, hook the thumbs, and lift the heart a little higher. Point the toes and go ahead and add the legs. Float everything up. Big inhale. Good. Exhale, let it go. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Full breath in and full breath out. Moving on. Inhale, right leg floats up and back. Exhale, step it through. Inhale to rise, high lunge. And exhale, open to warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. Okay, so you're finding your heel to arch alignment. Sharpen the back leg. And then as we come into the warrior two, the same core engagement applies, right? The lower belly gently lifts, the lower ribs close together, and the tailbone lengthens down. We reach the arms. Let's move with the breath. Inhale, straighten the front leg, reach your arms overhead, and exhale, cactus your arms, rebend, and then reach the arms wide. One more like that. Inhale. And exhale, rebend. Good. Inhale, straighten your front knee. Maybe bump the back foot in a bit as you float into the Trikonasana triangle pose. I personally love a block on the outside of the front ankle in this pose, but the hand can of course be on the shin or ankle as an option. Now, really root down through the inner border of that front foot. And then take your top arm over the ear, reach it long. Good, take an inhale. Exhale, cactus your arm, draw down. Let's do one more like that. Inhale. And exhale, draw it down. And now just find a little half bind. Roll that top shoulder open. Think long through the right side of the rib cage. Take one more inhale. And exhale. Good. Inhale, come on up to strong straight legs. And exhale, rebend into the warrior two. Inhale to reverse your warrior, lengthening right side of rib cage. And exhale, hands to the mat, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank pose. Now listen up, a little bit different. Exhale, lower forearm plank. Inhale, press the forearms down, strengthen the legs. Exhale, lower Sphinx. So yet another variation of our prone back bends. Point the toes, float the collarbones up. Inhale fully. Good, exhale, soften down. Let's go back, downward facing dog. Inhale, the left leg floats up and back. Exhale, step it through. Inhale to come on up, high lunge. And exhale to open, warrior two. Take a moment to find your foundation, that heel to arch alignment. Front knee is over the front ankle. Step into both the inner and outer border of the back foot, so you sharpen that back leg. And then of course that core engagement, lower ribs, lower belly hug in together, tailbone lengthens. The spine is nice and long through the crown of the head. Inhale, straighten the front leg, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, bend your front knee as you cactus the arms and then reach the arms away. Inhale, float up. And exhale, rebend, reach the arms away. Inhale, straighten your front knee, shorten the stance if you need to, and come into Trikonasana triangle pose. Once again, I'm going to elect to put a block on the outside of that front ankle, but you could put the block on the inside of the ankle if that works better for you. Root down through the base of the big toe and the inner heel on that front foot. Step into your back foot as well, and inhale, top arm over the ear, reaching to the front of your mat. Exhale, cactus your arm. One more, inhale, reach. Exhale, pull down, and let's find a half bind. Wrap the hand around, finding either your sacrum or that front hip. Roll the top shoulder open and lengthen through left side of rib cage. Inhale fully. Exhale completely. Good. Inhale, come back up. And exhale, rebend into the warrior two, sending your arms wide. Firm the feet. Inhale, reverse your warrior. And exhale, hands to the mat. Downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, lower halfway or to the floor, you decide. Inhale to upward facing dog. And exhale to go back, downward facing dog. Good. Inhale, right leg floats up and back. Exhale, step the right foot to not quite outside your right hand, but pretty far to the right, okay? Spin your back heel down so the back toes are pointing roughly to the front left corner of your mat. Warrior one, inhale, rise. So warrior one is a little bit similar to a lunge, except that the back heel is sealed down, okay? And that back leg is very firm. The hips are pointing forward. and we're bending into that front knee. Now, warrior one is technically a back bend, very similar to the shape that we've been making in our lunges. So, is it easy to crunch into the lower back and let the ribs blow out? Yeah. So let's create that engagement that we've been working on. Hug everything to midline. Lift frontal hip points. Press the back foot down and then reach the arms. Keep the stability hugging in through midsection and feel how you can lift the rib cage and the sternum further away from the pelvis. Your hands might even meet overhead as you bend deeply into that front knee. Inhale, get long through spine. Exhale, cactus your arms. Hands behind you now, interlace the fingers, draw the knuckles down. Inhale. Exhale, hinge and fold. Humble warrior. Hug the right outer hip into midline, press both feet down. Good, inhale, lengthen the spine, forward, flat back. And exhale, hands to the mat, step to plank. Inhale in the plank, broad collarbones, firm the legs. Exhale, go back, downward facing dog. Full breath in. Complete breath out, let it go. Good, inhale, left leg floats up and back. Exhale, step left foot pretty wide to the left. Spin the back heel down so those right toes are pointing to the front right corner of your mat. And then inhale, rise, warrior one. So I teach warrior one with the feet being on railroad tracks, hip width, rather than going heel to heel. It will feel nicer for a lot of our bodies, particularly when we're asking the hips to turn forward. And traditionally, we used to be told to square the hips to the front of the mat. Most of us cannot get the hips perfectly square. So a reasonable way to think about this is just to turn the hips forward and then respect the boundaries of the body, right? Step into the back heel. So the back leg is very firm. Left hip glides back, right hip wraps forward. Now let's add that core engagement. So everything hugs to midline, and then we can add the arms. So as you hug the midsection to midline, you can keep the lumbar spine long and then float the rib cage, the sternum up. Take a big inhale. Maybe the palms meet overhead as you bend into the front knee. And exhale, cactus those arms. Hands behind you. Let's interlace the fingers the weird way. And then draw the knuckles down. Inhale fully. Exhale, hinge and fold. Humble warrior. Keep the legs very firm here. It's easy to kind of let them go to jello, but firm the feet down, hug the left outer hip to midline. Good, inhale, lengthen spine forward, look forward. And exhale, hands to the mat, plank. Inhale fully in your plank, knit the lower belly in. And exhale, go back, downward facing dog. Good. Inhale, right leg floats up and back. Exhale, bring the shin forward and down, setting up for a pigeon, but it's going to be an active pigeon, okay? So as you set the shin down, prioritize back leg being straight, hips being a little bit higher, okay? Hug lower belly in. If you feel that the hip is kind of flailing off to the right or you're collapsing to the right, you might need to come higher, okay? And then of course, don't worry about trying to get the shin parallel to the front of the mat. I have my leg at pretty much a 45-degree angle here, okay? If you would prefer to keep your hands down or on blocks, you can. Otherwise, reach the arms. Lower belly hugs in, take an inhale. Exhale, hands through heart, arms go back, a little fold. We're gonna do 2 more like that. Inhale, lift, hug the right outer hip to midline. Exhale, hinge and fold. Keep pressing the right shin down into the mat. Inhale, lift. And exhale, fold. Good, inhale, lift. Exhale, hands to the mat, 3-leg dog. Right leg up and back, stack the hip, bend the knee, open it up. Let your left heel melt straight down. 1 more inhale. Good, exhale, gently undo it. Downward facing dog. Take a cycle of breath here and just feel. Good, second side, inhale, left leg up and back. Exhale the shin forward and down, setting up for pigeon. And then come to your fingertips. Make sure the back leg is nice and straight. Root that left shin down. Okay, that's going to help you hug this left outer hip to midline. And then find the core engagement. Okay. Option to either leave the hands down or option to reach the arms. Keep the left shin firming down. Big inhale. Exhale, hands through your heart. Take a little fold as you hinge. Inhale, lift up. You might find one side is stronger than the other. Exhale, hinge and fold. I'm on my weaker side, so this is harder for me. Inhale, lift up. Really press the front shin down. Exhale, hinge and fold. Keep the lower belly hugging in. Inhale, lift up one more time. And exhale, hands to the mat. 3-leg dog. Left leg up and back. Stack the hip. Bend the knee. Good. Take an inhale. And exhale, undo it. Downward facing dog. Really good job. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower all the way. One more prone back bend. So take the arms along beside you. And inhale, lift everything up. Shalabhasana. Roll both shoulder heads back. Maybe interlace the fingers and go up. One more inhale. And exhale and do it. Really good. Inhale, hands and knees. In your hands and knees, maybe just do a little bit of fluid movement, kind of float the pelvis in some circles or take some C curves. Good. And we have arrived at our peak pose. We're going to set up for Ustrasana, camel pose. If you have 2 blocks for this, great. If you don't, no big deal, okay? If your knees are tender, you're going to want to pad the knees in some manner, so feel free to grab a blanket or maybe even double up your mat in some way, okay? So if you have blocks, the first block is going to go long ways in between your feet. And today we're going to have the toes tucked, and you're going to position the block so that you can squeeze the block with the base of your big toes, okay? And then the second block is going to go skinny ways in between the thighs. Okay, so I like to take it pretty high up in the thigh just so you can get a really good grip on that. And the block in between the thighs is going to help us spin the thighs back. So you're going to want to keep a big squeeze on that. Now, same principles apply that we worked on in our lunges and in the Warrior One. We could let the midsection blow out and crunch into the lower back in this pose. But because we've been utilizing all of this core engagement to lengthen up out of the lower back, we're really well prepared to find more length and freedom in this pose. So we're going to get into it one step at a time, and you're always free to stop along the way, right? Okay, so squeeze both blocks. Put that core sitting action on, so you're lifting up. Midsection is firm. Inhale, reach the arms up. Now exhale, cactus your arms. Think about your sternum going up rather than back at this point. And then bring your hands to your lower back. Your fingers could point up or down, okay, it doesn't matter. Keep the midsection firming in. Keep lifting the rib cage and the heart up. And now squeeze the upper arms together. Take a big inhale. Either stay here or start to reach for your heels. I like to tent my fingers on the heels so I can get more length. Now squeeze both blocks. Lift the sternum, maybe take the head back. Inhale and exhale. Now, very important, no twisting. On your inhale, come up as one unit and then have a seat. You can sit on a block or not. Have any kind of comfortable seat. Perhaps place one hand over navel, one hand over heart, and take a breath. You might even close your eyes. One more cycle of breath. Take your time. One final downward facing dog. And allow your feet to be pretty wide in this down dog, okay? Wide down dog so we can feel the length of the spine. Press the hands away and just feel the spine drape down from the pelvis. Inhale fully. Exhale completely. Good. One more big inhale, fill up. And exhale, let the knees melt down. Maybe a child's pose, maybe you have a seat on the heels and just pause. Good. Awesome. Okay, meet me in a seat. And we're gonna take the legs out in front, just starting to wind it down a little bit, okay? So draw your right knee in. We're gonna cross it over the left leg, and I'm gonna stack the knees here. Option to bend the bottom knee coming into Gomukhasana legs. So if you come into Gomukhasana and you look more like this with the knee up, you'll want it to come into just cross legs, right leg in front. Okay, so that's just another option. Wherever you are, root the sit bones down, inhale, lengthen the spine up, and exhale, little folds, okay? Just a gentle fold, any amount. Keep the spine nice and long. Good. Now on an inhale, come on up. And now we will draw the right knee into the chest so the right foot is flat on the ground. Your left leg could be straight as an option. We'll all turn to the right. Left arm will scoop around that right thigh. Right hand is behind you as you turn. Ardha Matsyendrasana. Root the right sitting bone down, lengthen up out of the lower back, and then broaden your right collarbone to the right. If you have a little bit more, press your right thigh into the left arm as the arm scoops around that leg. Inhale fully. Exhale completely. One more cycle of breath. Can you get longer through the back of the skull? Make sure the chin is parallel with the ground. And then exhale, gently undo it. Good. Straighten both legs, maybe a little foot waggle. And then we'll do all of that on the other side. Left knee hugs in. You'll cross it over. And either full Gomukhasana, left knee on top, or Sukhasana, cross legs with just the left shin in front this time. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, little walk out, little folds. Breathe into the outer hips, especially the left outer hip. And then on an inhale, we walk back up. Draw the left knee into the chest so the left foot is flat on your mat. Right arm will scoop around that left thigh as you turn to the left. Feel how the left sitting bone wants to fly up off the mat and try to root that down. That will help you lengthen up out of the lumbar spine. You feel the rib cage turn and your left collarbone lengthen to the wall behind you. Lengthen up through the neck, through the crown of the head. You might give a little press of the left leg into the right arm. Is breath flowing? Inhale. And exhale. One more deep inhale. And exhale. Unrushed. When you're ready, you gently undo it. Both legs straighten out, maybe a little shift from side to side. Good, and then let's roll down to our backs. So roll on down. And then just one final little, I call this the flowing bridge. It's a very easy back bend, so just again, continuing to wind this down. Feet about hip width, maybe a little bit wider. Root the feet down, shimmy the shoulder blades toward one another so the chest is nice and broad, and then go ahead and float the hips up, send the arms overhead, okay? So that's your inhale, the apex of reaching the arms overhead and the hips lifting. And then you'll use the full exhalation to float the hips and the arms back down. So let's do maybe 3 more of these. Inhale. And exhale, float down. Do 2 more following your rhythm, your breath, unrushed. One more. And exhale, come on down. Good, take your feet a little bit wider. Let the knees knock together. Keep the knees just like that. Inhale, send your arms straight up to your ceiling and then cross the arms over the chest so that your hands are reaching for your shoulder blades. Alternatively, you could come into eagle arms and maybe do a gentle floss back and forth with those eagle arms. So you got 2 options there, but either way, breathe into the upper back. On your inhale, unwind that, send the arms up, and then just reverse the cross. So whatever arm wasn't already in front, you'll take that, and then the fingertips either reach for those shoulder blades, or you come into those eagle arms and you find that gentle floss up and back. It's a pretty subtle movement, so yeah. 1 more cycle of breath. Good, inhale, send the arms up. If you have the room and the space, you might take the arms out to a T and let your arms be really expansive. And then you might extend the legs down long down the mat, or you might bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees open out wide. But just starting to find softness here. Starting to make your way down to that final resting posture. If you have a few moments to rest, I highly recommend it. I am going to sign off for now, but thank you so much for practicing with me. As always, if you have any questions about what we worked on, even if you just want to reach out and say hi, I'd love to hear from people who are practicing with me, because I don't get to see you if you're practicing with me in this dynamic. So thank you so much. From my heart to yours, namaste.